In the early 20th century, two men embarked on a mission to decode the laws of wealth. One spent 25 years interviewing 500 of the world's most successful people, from Henry Ford to Thomas Edison, meticulously documenting every principle, every habit, every mental pattern that separated the wealthy from the masses. The other, in quiet solitude, claimed to have discovered the exact science behind riches, a metaphysical formula so precise that it worked with mathematical certainty for anyone who applied it. Napoleon Hill and Wallace Wattles. They both promised a foolproof path to wealth, but their core philosophies seemed to clash at a fundamental level. Was one of them wrong? Or did they each hold a different key to the same vault? What if the greatest mystery in wealth creation is not which master to follow, but how to unite their seemingly contradictory teachings into a single, unstoppable force? The pain you experience is not the absence of knowledge, it is the paralysis that comes from conflicting knowledge. You have read the books, watched the videos, absorbed the teachings, and yet you find yourself caught in a perpetual state of confusion. One guru tells you to hustle, to grind, to create detailed plans and execute them with military precision. Another tells you to align your vibration, to surrender the how, to trust that the universe will deliver your desires if you simply hold the vision with unwavering faith. Who do you listen to? Which path do you take? The modern seeker of wealth stands at a crossroads, torn between the practical and the metaphysical, between action and surrender, between Hill's strategic mind and Wattles' spiritual connection. Many people dabble in Napoleon Hill's practical strategies or Wattles' metaphysical principles, but they never fully commit because the two seem incompatible. This creates a state of spiritual paralysis where you do a little of both and get the results of neither. You visualize your goals in the morning, feeling a surge of faith and excitement, but by afternoon you are buried in busy work that has no strategic direction. Or you create elaborate business plans and action steps, only to find yourself exhausted, burned out, and no closer to your financial goals because you have lost the burning desire that should fuel your efforts. You are trying to serve two masters, and in doing so you serve neither effectively. The promise I offer you today is not another piece of conflicting advice to add to your collection. It is a complete dissection of the two greatest wealth manifestos ever written, a revelation of the one critical point where they seem to disagree, and a synthesis of their teachings into a single, unified system that combines practical action with metaphysical power. You will learn how to harness the invisible forces that Wattles describes, while simultaneously wielding the tangible strategies that Hill prescribes. You will discover that the conflict between these two titans is an illusion, and that the path to true wealth requires you to become both a mystic and a strategist, both a visionary and an executor. Let me introduce you to the two masters whose wisdom we will explore today. Napoleon Hill is the master strategist, the man who spent a quarter-century studying the wealthiest individuals of his era and distilled their secrets into 17 principles of success. His philosophy is grounded in the organized, disciplined, relentlessly focused mind, a mind that creates detailed plans, forms powerful alliances, and persists through every obstacle until the goal is achieved. Hill teaches you to master the physical plane, to understand the mechanics of success, to become a general commanding the forces of your own life toward a definite purpose. Wallace Wattles, by contrast, is the master metaphysician, the philosopher who claimed to have discovered the exact science by which all things are created. His philosophy rests on a single profound premise, that there exists a thinking substance from which all things are made, and that you can impress your thoughts upon this substance to create whatever you desire. Wattles teaches you to master the spiritual plane, to understand that wealth is created first in the invisible realm of thought and faith, and that your primary work is not to struggle and scheme, but to hold a clear vision, maintain perfect faith, and act in a certain way that allows the universe to deliver your creation into physical form. Here is the pact I make with you today. In this video, you will discover the fundamental difference between Hill's definite purpose and Wattles' certain way. You will learn which master's philosophy to apply at which stage of your journey to wealth, and you will understand how to integrate both systems into a unified approach that multiplies your power exponentially. But there is one secret principle that both men agreed was the absolute non-negotiable foundation for all riches, and it has nothing to do with hard work or visualization alone. I will reveal this unspoken agreement in part 4, and when you understand it, you will possess the master key that unlocks both systems simultaneously. For now, I ask you to engage with this exploration. Who do you think had the ultimate secret, Hill or Wattles? Leave your answer in the comments below, and let us begin this journey into the heart of wealth creation. Napoleon Hill's philosophy is not a collection of motivational platitudes or superficial success tips. It is a comprehensive science of personal achievement built upon the foundation of an organized, supremely focused mind. When Hill speaks of wealth, he is not merely referring to money. He is describing the ability to transmute desire into its physical equivalent through the application of specific mental principles. At the core of his teaching lies a profound truth, that the human mind, when properly directed and organized, becomes the most powerful creative force available to any individual. This is not mysticism in the traditional sense. It is a practical understanding of how mental energy, when concentrated and channeled through definite plans and persistent action, shapes physical reality. The centerpiece of Hill's system is what he calls the definite major purpose, a singular, all-consuming objective that becomes the organizing principle of your entire existence. This is not a casual wish or a vague hope. It is a burning obsession that dominates your conscious thoughts and permeates your subconscious mind until every faculty you possess aligns itself toward the achievement of this single goal. Hill observed that every successful person he studied possessed this quality of definiteness, this laser-like focus that eliminated all competing desires and channeled all mental and physical resources toward one clear target. Without this definite purpose, the mind scatters its energy in 1,000 directions, accomplishing nothing of significance. But Hill understood that desire alone, no matter how intense, is insufficient to produce wealth. The desire must be coupled with specialized knowledge, not general education, but specific, targeted information directly applicable to your chosen field of endeavor. He observed that many highly educated people remained poor because their knowledge was too broad and too theoretical, while many individuals with limited formal education became wealthy because they possessed or acquired the exact knowledge needed to solve specific problems or meet specific needs in the marketplace. This specialized knowledge, Hill taught, must be organized and directed through a concrete plan of action, a step-by-step blueprint that transforms abstract desire into tangible results. The execution of this plan, according to Hill, requires the formation of what he called the master mind, an alliance of 2 or more people working in perfect harmony toward a common objective. This principle recognizes a fundamental truth, that no individual possesses all the knowledge, skills, connections, and resources necessary to achieve great wealth alone. The mastermind creates a synergy where the combined mental power of the group exceeds the sum of its individual parts, generating insights, opportunities, and solutions that would be impossible for any single mind to produce. Hill considered this principle so crucial that he devoted an entire chapter to it, arguing that every great fortune in history was built through some form of mastermind alliance. Yet even with a definite purpose, specialized knowledge, a concrete plan, and a mastermind alliance, Hill recognized that success ultimately depends on one quality above all others: persistence. This is not mere stubbornness or blind determination. It is the concentrated power of will, applied continuously and intelligently toward a specific end, regardless of temporary defeats, setbacks, or obstacles. Hill observed that the majority of people are quick to quit at the first sign of difficulty, and it is precisely this lack of persistence that separates the wealthy from the poor. Those who accumulate great riches, he found, are those who maintain their burning desire and continue executing their plan with unwavering faith, even when circumstances seem to argue against success. Hill's philosophy, then, is fundamentally about the organization and direction of mental forces within the framework of physical reality. He teaches you to harness your thoughts, but always in service of concrete action in the material world. His system demands that you create detailed plans that you form strategic alliances, that you acquire specific knowledge, that you take persistent action day after day until your goal is achieved. There is nothing passive about Hill's approach. It is active, strategic, militant even. He speaks the language of military campaigns, of conquering obstacles, of marshalling forces and executing maneuvers. His wealth philosophy is the philosophy of the general, the strategist, the master of the physical plane who understands that thought must be translated into organized effort if it is to produce tangible results. What makes Hill's system so powerful is its recognition that wealth creation is a process that can be studied, understood, and replicated. By interviewing hundreds of successful individuals, Hill was able to identify the common patterns, the recurring principles, the universal laws that govern material success. He discovered that wealth is not a matter of luck, inheritance, or circumstances. It is the inevitable result of applying specific mental and physical principles in a specific way. This democratization of wealth knowledge was revolutionary. Hill was essentially saying that anyone, regardless of background or education, could become wealthy if they understood and applied the principles he had discovered. Yet there is a subtle dimension to Hill's teaching that is often overlooked by casual readers. While his language is practical and his methods are concrete, Hill repeatedly emphasizes the importance of faith, not religious faith necessarily, but an absolute conviction that your desire will be realized. He speaks of auto-suggestion, of impressing your definite purpose upon your subconscious mind, through repetition and emotional intensity until it becomes an unshakable belief. He describes how this faith magnetizes your mind, causing you to recognize opportunities that were always present but previously invisible, and giving you the courage to act decisively when those opportunities appear. This faith, in Hill's system, is not opposed to practical action. It is the invisible force that animates and empowers all action. Hill's philosophy also contains a profound understanding of the relationship between giving and receiving. He taught that those who accumulate the greatest wealth are those who provide the greatest service, who solve the biggest problems, who meet the most pressing needs of the greatest number of people. This is not altruism masquerading as business advice. It is a recognition of a fundamental economic law. Wealth flows to those who create value, and the amount of wealth you receive is directly proportional to the amount of value you provide. Hill's system, therefore, is not about taking or manipulating or scheming. It is about organizing your mental and physical resources to provide such exceptional value that wealth becomes the natural, inevitable consequence. The practical nature of Hill's philosophy extends to his treatment of failure and defeat. Unlike teachers who promise that positive thinking alone will shield you from adversity, Hill acknowledged that temporary defeat is an inevitable part of any great undertaking. What separates the successful from the unsuccessful, he argued, is not the absence of failure, but the response to failure. Those who achieve great wealth, Hill observed, are those who extract the lesson from every defeat, adjust their plans accordingly, and persist with renewed determination. They understand that every setback contains the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit, if they have the wisdom to find it and the courage to act upon it. Hill's emphasis on the organized mind manifests in his treatment of time and energy management. He recognized that the wealthy do not have more hours in the day than anyone else. They simply use their time more effectively because they have organized their activities around a definite purpose. Every action, every decision, every relationship is evaluated based on whether it moves them closer to or further from their primary objective. This ruthless prioritization, this willingness to say no to everything that does not serve the definite purpose, is what allows the successful to accomplish in years what others fail to accomplish in lifetimes. The organized mind is a discriminating mind, constantly filtering out the irrelevant and focusing only on what matters. Another crucial element of Hill's system is his understanding of the power of decision. He observed that successful people make decisions quickly and change them slowly, while unsuccessful people make decisions slowly and change them frequently. This pattern reveals a fundamental difference in mental organization. Those who achieve wealth have trained themselves to gather the necessary information, consult with their mastermind alliance if needed, and then make a firm decision without endless deliberation. Once the decision is made, they commit to it fully and adjust only when new evidence clearly indicates the need for change. This decisiveness creates momentum, eliminates the paralysis of overanalysis, and signals to both the conscious and subconscious mind that action is required. Hill's philosophy culminates in the principle of the mastermind, applied not just to human alliances, but to what he called infinite intelligence, a universal force that responds to organized thought and definite purpose. While Hill was careful not to make his teaching overtly religious, he clearly believed in an intelligence that pervades all things and that can be accessed by those who have properly prepared their minds through faith and definiteness of purpose. This principle bridges Hill's practical system with the metaphysical realm, suggesting that the organized mind does not work in isolation, but in cooperation with forces beyond the individual. Yet even here, Hill's emphasis remains on the practical application. You access this infinite intelligence not through passive meditation, but through intense focus, burning desire, and persistent action toward a definite end. The genius of Napoleon Hill's system lies in its completeness as a practical philosophy. It addresses every aspect of wealth creation, the mental preparation through definite purpose and burning desire, the strategic planning through specialized knowledge and concrete plans, the execution through mastermind alliances and persistent action, and the sustaining power through faith and connection to infinite intelligence. It is a system designed for the physical world, for those who must navigate markets and competitors and obstacles, for those who must make decisions and take risks and persist through difficulties. Hill gives you the chassis and the steering wheel, the engine and the transmission, everything you need to navigate the material plane toward your chosen destination. Wallace Wattles' philosophy, by contrast, operates from an entirely different premise, one that places the creative act not in the physical realm of plans and strategies, but in the invisible realm of thought and faith. At the foundation of Wattles' system lies a single revolutionary claim: that there exists a thinking substance from which all things are made, that this substance fills all space and permeates all matter, and that a thought impressed upon this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. This is not metaphor or poetry. Wattles presents it as literal fact, as the fundamental law governing all creation. If this premise is true, and Wattles argues it must be, for nothing else explains the observable facts of creation, then wealth is not primarily a matter of strategy or effort, but of thought and faith. This thinking substance, according to Wattles, is not inert or unconscious. It is intelligent, responsive, and creative by nature. It is constantly taking the form of the thoughts that are impressed upon it, bringing into physical manifestation whatever images are held steadily in the mind with faith and purpose. Wattles teaches that you do not need to understand how this process works any more than you need to understand electricity to use it. You simply need to comply with the law. The law states that clear thought plus unwavering faith equals certain manifestation. Your work, therefore, is not to figure out the mechanism by which your desire will be fulfilled. That is the work of the thinking substance itself, but to hold the vision, maintain the faith, and act in harmony with your vision. The clarity of vision that Wattles demands is not vague daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is a precise, detailed mental image of exactly what you desire, held with such intensity and frequency that it becomes more real to you than your current circumstances. Wattles instructs you to spend time each day contemplating this vision, not as something you hope to have someday, but as something that already exists in the invisible realm and is now making its way to you. This is a crucial distinction. You are not trying to create something from nothing. You are impressing your thought upon a substance that already contains all possibilities, and that substance is now organizing itself to produce the physical form of your vision. But Wattles understood that vision alone without faith is powerless. The faith he describes is not blind hope or religious belief. It is an absolute, unshakable knowing that what you have envisioned is already yours in the invisible realm and must, by the operation of natural law, manifest in the physical realm. This faith is not something you manufacture through willpower. It arises naturally when you truly understand the nature of the thinking substance and your relationship to it. When you comprehend that this substance is intelligent and responsive, that it wants to give you what you desire, because giving is its nature, that it is already working to bring your vision into form. When you grasp this truth at a deep level, faith becomes effortless and automatic. Wattles makes a radical claim that distinguishes his philosophy from nearly every other success system. He argues that you should not concern yourself with the how of manifestation. Most people, he observes, destroy their creative power by constantly trying to figure out the means by which their desire will be fulfilled. They look at their current circumstances, see no apparent path to their goal, and allow doubt to creep in. They try to force specific opportunities or manipulate specific people, thereby limiting the infinite ways in which the thinking substance could deliver their desire. Wattles teaches that the how is the business of the formless substance, not yours. Your business is to hold the vision, maintain the faith, and act in your present environment in a certain way. This certain way of acting is the practical component of Wattles' system, and it is here that his philosophy intersects with the physical world. Wattles teaches that, while you do not need to devise elaborate plans or schemes, you must act upon every opportunity that presents itself in your current situation. If you are employed, you must perform your current work with excellence and efficiency, always with the intention of advancement. You must do more than you are paid to do, and do it better than it has ever been done before. This is not servitude, it is the physical expression of your faith. By acting with excellence in your present role, you signal to the thinking substance that you are ready to receive greater opportunities. The attitude that must accompany this action, according to Wattles, is gratitude. This is not gratitude for what you already have, though that is included. It is gratitude for what you have envisioned and claimed as yours in the invisible realm. Wattles teaches that gratitude is the bridge between your mind and the creative source, that it keeps you in harmonious relation with the thinking substance, and that it prevents the negative thoughts of doubt and fear from entering your consciousness. When you feel deep, sincere gratitude for your vision, as if it were already realized, you maintain the faith that allows the creative process to continue unimpeded. Gratitude is not an optional nicety in Wattles' system. It is an essential component of the creative mechanism. Wattles draws a sharp distinction between what he calls the competitive mind and the creative mind. The competitive mind operates from a premise of scarcity, believing that wealth must be taken from others, that your gain requires someone else's loss, that success is a zero-sum game. This mindset, Wattles argues, is not only morally wrong, but practically ineffective. It places you in conflict with the natural flow of abundance and limits you to rearranging existing resources rather than creating new wealth. The creative mind, by contrast, operates from a premise of abundance, understanding that the thinking substance contains unlimited potential and that your creation of wealth does not diminish anyone else's opportunity to create wealth. When you operate from the creative mind, you add to the total sum of wealth in the world rather than merely redistributing what already exists. This distinction has profound implications for how you pursue wealth. If you operate from the competitive mind, you will constantly be looking for angles, trying to get the better of others in transactions, seeking to acquire what already exists. If you operate from the creative mind, you will focus on creating value, on bringing into existence what did not exist before, on impressing your creative vision upon the thinking substance and allowing it to manifest through you. Wattles teaches that all true wealth is created, not acquired, and that the path to riches lies in becoming a creator rather than a competitor. This requires a fundamental shift in consciousness, a movement from fear and lack to faith and abundance. Wattles' philosophy also addresses the question of environment and circumstances. Many people believe they cannot become wealthy because of where they live, what opportunities are available, or what resources they currently possess. Wattles demolishes this excuse by arguing that the thinking substance is everywhere, that it is just as accessible to you in a small town as in a great city, that your current circumstances are irrelevant to your ability to impress your thoughts upon this substance. What matters is not where you are, but what you are thinking and how you are acting. If you hold the right vision with the right faith and act in the right way, the thinking substance will arrange circumstances to bring you what you desire, regardless of your starting point. The simplicity of Wattles' system is both its greatest strength and its greatest challenge. The strength lies in its accessibility. Anyone can form a clear mental image. Anyone can practice faith and gratitude. Anyone can act with excellence in their current situation. You do not need capital, connections, or credentials to begin. The challenge lies in maintaining the vision and faith in the face of contradictory physical evidence. When you look at your bank account and see scarcity, when you look at your circumstances and see limitation, it requires tremendous mental discipline to hold the vision of wealth and feel gratitude for what has not yet manifested. This is where most people fail in applying Wattles' system, not because the system is flawed, but because they cannot sustain the faith long enough for the creative process to complete. Wattles anticipated this challenge and addressed it directly. He teaches that you must learn to see the reality behind appearances, to understand that what is visible is merely the temporary form taken by the thinking substance, and that this form is constantly changing in response to thought. When you see poverty or limitation in your current circumstances, you are seeing the result of past thoughts, yours or others, but you are not seeing what is now being created in the invisible realm through your present thoughts. If you allow the appearance of your current circumstances to dominate your thinking, you will continue to create more of the same. But if you can hold your vision and faith despite appearances, you will eventually see those appearances change to match your vision. The metaphysical nature of Wattles' philosophy does not make it impractical. Rather, it addresses a dimension of wealth creation that purely practical systems ignore. Wattles recognized that there is an invisible component to success, that opportunities arise in ways that cannot be explained by strategy alone, that the right people appear at the right time, that circumstances align in your favor when you are in harmony with the creative source. He was attempting to give you conscious control over this invisible dimension, to teach you how to work with the creative forces of the universe rather than merely struggling against physical obstacles. His system is the system of the mystic, the philosopher, the one who understands that the visible world is shaped by invisible forces, and that mastery of those forces is the ultimate power. Wattles' teaching culminates in the promise that if you follow his method exactly, forming the clear vision, maintaining unwavering faith, feeling constant gratitude, and acting in the certain way, you will get rich with mathematical certainty. This is not hyperbole or salesmanship. It is Wattles' genuine conviction, based on his understanding of universal law. He believed he had discovered the exact science of wealth creation, a formula as reliable as any formula in physics or chemistry. Whether one accepts this claim or not, the power of Wattles' system lies in its ability to shift your consciousness from limitation to possibility, from competition to creation, from doubt to faith. And in that shift of consciousness lies a power that transcends any practical strategy. The fundamental difference between Hill and Wattles now becomes clear. Hill tells you to create a detailed, practical plan and follow it relentlessly, marshalling all your resources and alliances toward the execution of that plan. Wattles tells you that the how is the business of the formless substance, and you must simply hold the vision with faith and act in your present environment with excellence. Hill emphasizes the organized mind working strategically in the physical world. Wattles emphasizes the faithful mind working creatively in the invisible realm. So here is the question that has paralyzed countless seekers. Do you plan every detail, or do you surrender the plan? Do you focus on strategy and execution, or on vision and faith? This is the central conflict we must now resolve, and in its resolution lies the unified path to wealth that neither master fully articulated alone. Napoleon Hill's system is best understood as a stairway to riches, a sequential ascent through specific principles that build upon one another until you reach the summit of material success. The first step on this stairway is the cultivation of what Hill calls the burning desire, and it is crucial to understand that this is not a casual wish or a mild preference. When Hill speaks of desire, he is describing an all-consuming obsession that dominates your waking thoughts and penetrates your subconscious mind, a hunger so intense that it leaves no room for competing interests or distractions. This burning desire is the fuel that powers every other principle in Hill's system. Without it, all the knowledge and all the strategies in the world remain inert and useless. Hill instructs you to begin by fixing in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Not a vague notion of being wealthy, but a specific figure that you can see, feel, and imagine possessing. You must then determine exactly what you intend to give in return for this money. Understanding that wealth is not something you get, but something you exchange value to receive. You must establish a definite date by which you intend to possess this money, creating a deadline that focuses your mind and creates urgency. And you must create a definite plan for carrying out your desire, beginning at once to put this plan into action whether you feel ready or not. These 4 steps, the specific amount, the specific exchange, the specific deadline, and the specific plan, transform a vague wish into a burning desire that the mind can act upon. But Hill goes further, instructing you to write out a clear, concise statement of this desire and read it aloud twice daily, once upon waking and once before sleeping. As you read this statement, you must see yourself already in possession of the money, feel the emotions you will feel when it is yours, and believe with absolute conviction that it is on its way to you. This practice of autosuggestion, repeated daily with emotional intensity, gradually impresses your desire upon your subconscious mind until it becomes an obsession that drives you forward with irresistible force. The subconscious mind, once properly programmed with a definite desire, begins to work continuously toward its realization, alerting you to opportunities, inspiring you with ideas, and motivating you to take the necessary actions. The second step in Hill's stairway is the creation of a definite plan, and this is where his philosophy becomes intensely practical. Hill recognized that desire without a plan is merely daydreaming, that faith without works is dead, and that the universe does not respond to vague intentions but to specific organized effort. Your plan must be detailed and concrete, outlining the specific steps you will take, the specific knowledge you will acquire, the specific people you will ally with, and the specific actions you will perform each day to move closer to your goal. This plan is not carved in stone. Hill understood that circumstances change and that flexibility is necessary. But you must have a plan, and you must work that plan with consistency and persistence. Hill's emphasis on planning extends to what he calls specialized knowledge, which is the third critical component of his system. He observed that general knowledge, no matter how extensive, is of little use in wealth creation. What matters is specific knowledge directly applicable to your definite purpose, knowledge that allows you to provide a service or create a product that others will pay for. Hill noted that many highly educated people remain poor because their knowledge is too broad and too theoretical, while many people with limited formal education become wealthy because they possess or acquire the exact knowledge needed to solve a specific problem or meet a specific need. The key is to identify what knowledge you need, acquire it through study or through alliance with those who possess it, and organize it into a plan of action. The fourth step in Hill's stairway is the formation of a mastermind alliance, and this principle reveals Hill's deep understanding of the limitations of individual effort. No matter how brilliant or capable you are, you cannot possess all the knowledge, skills, connections, and resources necessary to achieve great wealth alone. The mastermind principle recognizes that when 2 or more minds work together in harmony toward a common objective, they create a third, invisible force that is greater than the sum of its parts. This synergy produces insights, opportunities, and solutions that would be impossible for any individual to generate alone. Hill considered the mastermind so essential that he argued no significant achievement is possible without it. The practical application of the mastermind principle requires you to carefully select individuals whose knowledge, skills, or connections complement your own, individuals who share your values and are willing to commit to your definite purpose. This is not merely networking or forming casual business relationships. It is the creation of a tight-knit alliance where each member contributes their unique strengths and where all members benefit from the collective wisdom and effort of the group. Hill observed that every great fortune in history was built through some form of mastermind alliance. Whether it was Ford's alliance with Edison and Firestone, or Carnegie's alliance with dozens of specialists in various aspects of steel production and distribution. The fifth and perhaps most crucial step in Hill's stairway is the cultivation of unwavering persistence, which Hill identified as the primary difference between those who succeed and those who fail. Persistence in Hill's system is not mere stubbornness or blind determination. It is the sustained application of willpower toward a definite end, the refusal to accept temporary defeat as permanent failure, the ability to continue executing your plan with faith and enthusiasm even when circumstances seem to argue against success. Hill observed that the majority of people quit at the first sign of difficulty, and it is precisely this lack of persistence that keeps them from achieving their desires. Those who accumulate great wealth, by contrast, are those who persist through countless obstacles and setbacks until they reach their goal. Hill identified several factors that contribute to persistence, including the definiteness of purpose, the burning desire, the master-mind alliance, and a positive mental attitude. But he also recognized that persistence requires the deliberate cultivation of certain habits. The habit of making decisions quickly, the habit of following through on those decisions, the habit of learning from defeat rather than being discouraged by it, and the habit of maintaining faith even when the evidence seems to contradict your beliefs. These habits, practiced daily, gradually build the mental and emotional stamina necessary to persist through any challenge. Hill argued that persistence can be cultivated through practice, that it is not an innate trait, but a skill that anyone can develop through conscious effort. The sixth step in Hill's system is the power of the subconscious mind, which Hill understood to be the link between the conscious mind and infinite intelligence. The subconscious mind, according to Hill, is constantly active, working on the problems and desires that have been impressed upon it by the conscious mind. When you use autosuggestion to impress your definite purpose upon your subconscious mind with emotional intensity and repetition, the subconscious begins to work continuously toward the realization of that purpose. It alerts you to opportunities you would otherwise miss, inspires you with ideas and hunches, and gradually transforms your habitual thoughts and actions to align with your desire. This is why Hill placed so much emphasis on the daily practice of reading your written statement of desire with faith and emotion. It is the method by which you program your subconscious mind. The seventh step is the cultivation of faith, which Hill defined as the visualization and belief in the attainment of desire. This faith is not passive hope, but active conviction, a state of mind that can be induced through the repeated affirmation of your desire, combined with the emotional feeling of already possessing what you seek. Hill taught that faith is the starting point of all accumulation of riches, that it is the basis of all miracles and mysteries, that cannot be analyzed by science, and that it is the only known antidote to failure. When you develop unshakable faith in the attainment of your desire, you eliminate doubt and fear. You act with confidence and boldness, and you persist through obstacles that would stop others. This faith, combined with burning desire and persistent action, makes you virtually unstoppable. The eighth step in Hill's stairway involves the transmutation of sexual energy, a principle that Hill considered so powerful and so misunderstood that he devoted an entire chapter to it. Hill observed that the most successful people he studied possessed highly developed sex drives, but they had learned to channel this powerful energy into creative and productive pursuits, rather than dissipating it through purely physical expression. This transmutation of sexual energy into other forms of creative energy, Hill argued, is the secret behind many great achievements in art, literature, business, and invention. The person who has learned to control and redirect this most powerful of all human drives gains access to a source of energy and creativity that propels them far beyond the ordinary. The ninth and culminating step in Hill's system is the connection to what he called infinite intelligence, a universal mind or creative force that responds to definiteness of purpose and faith. While Hill was careful not to make his teaching overtly religious, he clearly believed in an intelligence that pervades all things and that can be accessed by those who have properly prepared their minds. This infinite intelligence, according to Hill, is the source of all hunches, inspirations, and creative ideas that seem to come from beyond the individual mind. When you have developed a burning desire, created a definite plan, formed a mastermind alliance, cultivated persistence, programmed your subconscious mind, and developed unshakable faith, you create the conditions under which infinite intelligence can work through you, guiding you to opportunities and solutions that your conscious mind alone could never discover. Hill's Stairway to Riches, then, is a complete system that addresses every dimension of wealth creation, from the initial spark of desire to the final connection with universal intelligence. It is a practical, actionable system that anyone can follow, regardless of their starting point or circumstances. But it demands total commitment, unwavering persistence, and the willingness to organize every aspect of your life around your definite purpose. Hill is teaching you to become a general commanding the forces of your own mind and the resources of your environment toward a specific objective. He is giving you the strategic framework, the tactical principles, and the mental disciplines necessary to navigate the physical world and bend it to your will. This is the path of the warrior, the strategist, the master of the material plane. The power of Hill's system lies in its recognition that success is not accidental, but the result of applying specific principles in a specific way. By studying hundreds of successful individuals, Hill was able to identify the common patterns, the recurring themes, the universal laws that govern material achievement. He discovered that wealth is not a matter of luck or inheritance or genius. It is the inevitable result of organizing your mind around a definite purpose and executing a definite plan with unwavering persistence. This democratization of success knowledge was revolutionary, and it remains the foundation of virtually every practical success system taught today. Hill proved that anyone can become wealthy if they understand and apply the principles he discovered, and his Stairway to Riches provides the exact blueprint for doing so. Yet even as we acknowledge the power and completeness of Hill's system, we must recognize its limitations. Hill's focus is almost entirely on the physical plane, on plans, strategies, alliances, and actions. While he acknowledges the role of faith and infinite intelligence, these elements are treated as supporting forces that enhance the effectiveness of practical action rather than as primary creative forces in their own right. Hill tells you what to do and how to do it, but he does not fully explore the invisible dimension of wealth creation, the metaphysical realm where desires are impressed upon a creative substance and where manifestation begins before any physical action is taken. This is where Wallace Wattles' system provides the missing piece, the complementary philosophy, that addresses the dimension Hill largely overlooked. Hill's Stairway gives you the structure, the framework, the step-by-step process for translating desire into physical reality. It is the chassis and the steering wheel, the engine and the transmission, everything you need to navigate the material world toward your chosen destination. But what if there is another dimension to wealth creation, an invisible realm where thought becomes form, where faith attracts circumstances, where the universe itself conspires to deliver what you have claimed as yours? This is the realm that Wallace Wattles explores, and it is to his system that we now turn to discover the other half of the complete equation of wealth. Wallace Wattles' system, which he called the creative method, operates from an entirely different starting point than Hill's practical stairway. Where Hill begins with organized plans and strategic action, Wattles begins with a single profound premise: that there exists a thinking substance from which all things are made, that this substance fills all space and permeates all matter, and that you can impress your thoughts upon this substance to create whatever you desire. If you can accept this premise, and Wattles argues that you must, for nothing else explains the observable facts of creation, then wealth creation becomes not primarily a matter of strategy, but of consciousness, not of doing, but of being, not of manipulating physical resources, but of impressing your vision upon an intelligent, responsive, creative substance. The first step in Wattles' creative method is the formation of a clear mental image of what you desire. This is not vague daydreaming or casual wishing. It is the deliberate creation of a precise, detailed vision of exactly what you want, held with such intensity and frequency that it becomes more real to you than your current physical circumstances. Wattles instructs you to spend time each day in contemplation of this vision, not as something you hope to have someday, but as something that already exists in the invisible realm and is now making its way to you through the operation of natural law. This vision is the mold into which the thinking substance will pour itself, taking the form of your mental image and eventually manifesting as physical reality. The clarity and specificity of this vision is crucial. Wattles teaches that the thinking substance can only create what you clearly imagine, that vague or conflicting thoughts produce vague or conflicting results, and that the precision of your mental image determines the precision of your manifestation. You must know exactly what you want, not just wealth in general, but the specific amount, the specific lifestyle, the specific experiences you desire. You must be able to see it in your mind's eye with perfect clarity, to feel the emotions you will feel when it is yours, to experience it as if it were already real. This mental image, held consistently and with emotional intensity, becomes the template that the thinking substance uses to create your physical reality. The second step in Wattles' system is the cultivation of unwavering faith, which is not religious belief, but an absolute knowing that what you have envisioned is already yours in the invisible realm and must, by the operation of natural law, manifest in the physical realm. This faith arises not from blind hope, but from understanding the nature of the thinking substance and your relationship to it. When you truly comprehend that this substance is intelligent and responsive, that it wants to give you what you desire because giving is its nature, that it is already working to bring your vision into form. When you grasp this truth at a deep level, faith becomes effortless and automatic. You are not trying to convince yourself of something that might be true. You are recognizing something that is true and allowing that recognition to shape your consciousness. Wattles makes a radical claim that distinguishes his philosophy from virtually every other success system. He teaches that you should not concern yourself with the how of manifestation. This is perhaps the most difficult aspect of his system for practical-minded people to accept, because we are conditioned to believe that we must figure out the means by which our desires will be fulfilled. But Wattles argues that this very attempt to control the how is what destroys most people's creative power. When you look at your current circumstances, see no apparent path to your goal, and allow doubt to creep in, you interrupt the creative process. When you try to force specific opportunities or manipulate specific people, you limit the infinite ways in which the thinking substance could deliver your desire. The how, Wattles insists, is the business of the formless substance, not yours. Your business, according to Wattles, is threefold: to hold the vision with perfect clarity, to maintain unwavering faith that it is manifesting, and to act in a certain way in your present environment. This certain way of acting is the practical component of Wattles' system, the bridge between the invisible realm of thought and the physical realm of manifestation. Wattles teaches that while you do not need to devise elaborate plans or schemes, you must act upon every opportunity that presents itself in your current situation. If you are employed, you must perform your current work with excellence and efficiency, always with the intention of advancement. You must do more than you are paid to do, and do it better than it has ever been done before. This is not servitude, it is the physical expression of your faith. The principle behind this certain way of acting is that by performing your present duties with excellence, you signal to the thinking substance that you are ready to receive greater opportunities. You demonstrate through your actions that you can be trusted with more, that you will use increased resources wisely, that you are prepared for the advancement you have envisioned. Wattles teaches that the universe responds to this signal by arranging circumstances to bring you the opportunities you need. These opportunities may come through your current employer, or they may come from entirely unexpected sources. The thinking substance has infinite ways of delivering what you have claimed. Your responsibility is not to worry about where the opportunities will come from, but to be ready to recognize and act upon them when they appear. The fourth step in Wattles' creative method is the cultivation of gratitude, which is not merely a pleasant emotion, but an essential component of the creative mechanism. Wattles teaches that gratitude is the bridge between your mind and the creative source, that it keeps you in harmonious relation with the thinking substance, and that it prevents the negative thoughts of doubt and fear from entering your consciousness. When you feel deep, sincere gratitude for your vision as if it were already realized. You maintain the faith that allows the creative process to continue unimpeded. Gratitude is the feeling that naturally arises when you truly believe that what you desire is on its way to you, and by deliberately cultivating this feeling, you reinforce your faith and accelerate the manifestation process. Wattles instructs you to spend time each day in contemplation of your vision while simultaneously feeling intense gratitude for its fulfillment. This practice serves multiple purposes. It keeps your vision clear and vivid in your mind. It maintains your faith by focusing on the certainty of manifestation rather than on current circumstances, and it generates the positive emotional state that attracts favorable conditions and opportunities. The combination of clear vision, unwavering faith, and heartfelt gratitude creates a powerful magnetic force that draws your desire toward you while simultaneously drawing you toward your desire. This is not magical thinking. It is, according to Wattles, the operation of a natural law as reliable as the law of gravity. A crucial distinction in Wattles' philosophy is the difference between the competitive mind and the creative mind, and understanding this distinction is essential to applying his system correctly. The competitive mind operates from a premise of scarcity, believing that there is a limited amount of wealth available, and that your gain must come at someone else's expense. This mindset places you in conflict with others, causes you to focus on acquiring what already exists rather than creating something new, and limits you to rearranging existing resources. The creative mind, by contrast, operates from a premise of abundance, understanding that the thinking substance contains unlimited potential and that your creation of wealth does not diminish anyone else's opportunity to create wealth. When you operate from the creative mind, you are not trying to take anything from anyone. You're not competing for a limited pie. You are creating new value that expands the pie for everyone. This shift from competition to creation has profound practical implications. It means you can pursue your goals without hostility toward others, without the need to defeat competitors, without the stress and conflict that comes from a scarcity mindset. It means you focus your energy on creating value rather than on protecting your position or undermining others. And it means you align yourself with the natural flow of abundance rather than fighting against it. Wattles teaches that all true wealth is created, not acquired, and that the path to riches lies in becoming a creator rather than a competitor. Wattles' system also addresses the question of environment and circumstances, demolishing the excuse that many people use to justify their continued poverty. Many believe they cannot become wealthy because of where they live, what opportunities are available, or what resources they currently possess. Wattles argues that this belief is false because the thinking substance is everywhere, equally accessible in a small town as in a great city, equally responsive to the poor as to the rich. Your current circumstances are irrelevant to your ability to impress your thoughts upon this substance. What matters is not where you are, but what you are thinking and how you are acting. If you hold the right vision with the right faith and act in the right way, the thinking substance will arrange circumstances to bring you what you desire, regardless of your starting point. This teaching is both liberating and demanding. It is liberating because it means you do not need to wait for circumstances to change before you can begin creating wealth. You can start exactly where you are, with exactly what you have, because the creative process begins in the invisible realm of thought, not in the physical realm of resources. But it is demanding because it removes all excuses. If your circumstances are irrelevant, then you cannot blame your poverty on your location, your background, your education, or your lack of opportunities. The only thing that matters is whether you are applying the creative method correctly, forming the clear vision, maintaining unwavering faith, feeling constant gratitude, and acting in the certain way. The simplicity of Wattles' system is both its greatest strength and its greatest challenge. The strength lies in its accessibility. Anyone can form a clear mental image. Anyone can practice faith and gratitude. Anyone can act with excellence in their current situation. You do not need capital, connections, or credentials to begin. The challenge lies in maintaining the vision and faith in the face of contradictory physical evidence. When you look at your bank account and see scarcity, When you look at your circumstances and see limitation, it requires tremendous mental discipline to hold the vision of wealth and feel gratitude for what has not yet manifested. This is where most people fail in applying Wattles' system, not because the system is flawed, but because they cannot sustain the faith long enough for the creative process to complete. Wattles anticipated this challenge and addressed it by teaching you to see the reality behind appearances. What is visible in your current circumstances, he argues, is merely the temporary form taken by the thinking substance based on past thoughts, yours or others. But this form is constantly changing in response to new thoughts. When you see poverty or limitation, you are seeing the result of past thinking, but you are not seeing what is now being created in the invisible realm through your present thoughts. If you allow the appearance of your current circumstances to dominate your thinking, you will continue to create more of the same. But if you can hold your vision and faith despite appearances, you will eventually see those appearances change to match your vision. This requires a profound shift in perspective, a willingness to trust the invisible more than the visible. The metaphysical nature of Wattles' philosophy does not make it impractical. Rather, it addresses a dimension of wealth creation that purely practical systems ignore. Wattles recognized that there is an invisible component to success, that opportunities arise in ways that cannot be explained by strategy alone, that the right people appear at the right time, that circumstances align in your favor when you are in harmony with the creative source. He was attempting to give you conscious control over this invisible dimension, to teach you how to work with the creative forces of the universe rather than merely struggling against physical obstacles. His system is the system of the mystic, the philosopher, the one who understands that the visible world is shaped by invisible forces and that mastery of those forces is the ultimate power. Wattles' creative method culminates in a promise that seems almost too good to be true, that if you follow his method exactly, forming the clear vision, maintaining unwavering faith, feeling constant gratitude, and acting in the certain way, you will get rich with mathematical certainty. This is not hyperbole or salesmanship. It is Wattles' genuine conviction based on his understanding of universal law. He believed he had discovered the exact science of wealth creation, a formula as reliable as any formula in physics or chemistry. The question is not whether the law works. Wattles argues it must work because it is a natural law, but whether you can apply it consistently and correctly without allowing doubt or fear to interrupt the creative process. The power of Wattles' system lies in its ability to shift your consciousness from limitation to possibility, from competition to creation, from doubt to faith. When you truly internalize his teaching, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start seeing yourself as a creator of circumstances. You stop focusing on what you lack and start focusing on what you are creating. You stop worrying about how your desire will be fulfilled and start trusting that the thinking substance is arranging everything for your benefit. This shift in consciousness is itself transformative, and it creates the mental and emotional state in which wealth can flow to you naturally and effortlessly. Wattles is teaching you to become a mystic, a co-creator with the universal intelligence, a master of the invisible realm where all physical forms originate. Now we come to the heart of the matter, the synthesis that resolves the apparent conflict between Hill's practical stairway and Wattles' metaphysical method. The conflict, you must understand, is an illusion created by incomplete understanding of both systems. Hill and Wattles are not contradicting each other. They are describing two different sides of the same mountain, two complementary aspects of a single unified process. Wattles teaches you how to create the what on the spiritual plane, how to impress your desire upon the thinking substance and set the creative forces of the universe in motion. Hill teaches you how to execute the how on the physical plane, how to receive and act upon the inspired plans that the universe delivers to you, organizing your mind and resources to bring your vision into physical form. The unified path to wealth requires you to become both a mystic and a strategist, both a visionary and an executor. You begin with Wattles' creative method. You form a clear, detailed vision of exactly what you desire. You cultivate unwavering faith that it is already yours in the invisible realm. You feel deep gratitude for its manifestation, and you act with excellence in your present environment. This impresses your desire upon the thinking substance and sets the creative process in motion. But you do not stop there, passively waiting for the universe to drop wealth into your lap. Instead, you remain alert and receptive to the inspired ideas, the unexpected opportunities, the sudden hunches that begin to appear in your consciousness. These are the universe's response to your vision, the how that you were told not to worry about. When these inspired ideas and opportunities appear, you shift into Hill's mode. You create a definite plan based on the opportunity. You acquire the specialized knowledge necessary to execute the plan. You form mastermind alliances with those who can help you, and you persist with unwavering determination until the plan is realized. You are not creating the opportunity through strategy alone. The opportunity was created through your impression upon the thinking substance. But you are using strategy, organization, and persistence to translate that opportunity into physical wealth. This is the synthesis. Wattles' method creates the opportunity on the invisible plane, and Hill's method executes the opportunity on the physical plane. Together they form a complete system that harnesses both the metaphysical and the practical dimensions of wealth creation. The synthesis of Hill and Wattles provides the complete equation of wealth, but understanding the equation is not the same as applying it correctly. There are fatal mistakes that people make when attempting to use these systems, and these mistakes stem from misunderstanding the proper role and timing of each approach. The first fatal mistake is what I call the Wattles trap, living entirely in the metaphysical realm, visualizing all day, feeling gratitude for what has not yet manifested, but failing to take efficient, powerful action in the real world when opportunities present themselves. This is faith without works, and it is as ineffective as works without faith. The Wattles trap is seductive because his philosophy is so appealing to those who are tired of struggle, who are exhausted from years of effort that has produced little result, who want to believe that they can think their way to wealth without the hard work and persistence that Hill demands. They read Wattles and conclude that all they need to do is visualize, affirm, and feel grateful, and the universe will deliver wealth to them. They spend hours in meditation and visualization. They create vision boards and affirmations. They feel wonderful emotions of gratitude and certainty, but when an opportunity appears that requires effort, risk, or uncomfortable action, they hesitate. They wait for an easier opportunity, a clearer sign, a more comfortable path, and so they remain in the realm of thought, never bridging to the realm of action. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of Wattles' teaching. While Wattles does say that the how is the business of the formless substance, he also explicitly states that you must act upon every opportunity that presents itself in your current environment, and you must act with efficiency and excellence. He is not teaching passivity. He is teaching a different kind of activity that is guided by vision and faith rather than by anxiety and struggle. When you fall into the Wattles trap, you are using his philosophy as an excuse for inaction, as a justification for avoiding the discomfort and risk that real wealth creation requires. You are treating the creative method as a substitute for action rather than as a guide for action. The symptoms of the Wattles trap are easy to identify. You spend more time visualizing than doing. You feel excited and inspired when you contemplate your vision, but you feel anxious or resistant when faced with concrete opportunities. You are always waiting for the perfect opportunity, the ideal circumstances, the clear sign from the universe that now is the time to act. You have elaborate spiritual practices, but minimal practical results. You can talk eloquently about the law of attraction and the thinking substance, but your bank account tells a different story. This is not Wattles' system properly applied. It is a distortion of his system that preserves the comfortable parts while avoiding the challenging parts. The second fatal mistake is what I call the Hill trap. Getting so lost in the grind and the mechanics of the plan that you lose the burning desire and faith that should animate your efforts. This is works without faith, and it leads to exhaustion, burnout, and ultimately failure, despite tremendous effort. The Hill trap is common among highly practical, action-oriented people who dismiss Wattles' metaphysical philosophy as wishful thinking and focus exclusively on Hill's practical strategies. They create detailed plans, they work long hours, they persist through obstacles, But they do so with a sense of strain and struggle, constantly fighting against resistance, constantly worried about whether their efforts will pay off. When you fall into the hill trap, work becomes a burden rather than a joy. You are executing your plan mechanically, without the enthusiasm and faith that should accompany it. You have lost touch with the vision that inspired your plan in the first place, and you are now simply going through the motions, hoping that sheer effort will eventually produce results. But Hill himself warned against this. He taught that persistence must be accompanied by faith, that action must be animated by burning desire, that the organized mind must be connected to infinite intelligence. Without these elements, you are simply working hard, and hard work alone does not create wealth. The symptoms of the hill trap are equally recognizable. You are constantly busy but rarely productive. You have elaborate plans but little progress. You work long hours but feel exhausted rather than energized. You are focused on the doing but have lost touch with the being, the state of consciousness that attracts opportunities and opens doors. You have become a machine executing a program, and you have forgotten that you are a creator, impressing your vision upon a responsive universe. This is not Hill's system properly applied. It is a distortion that takes his practical principles but strips away the metaphysical foundation that gives them power. The way out of both traps is to understand that Hill and Wattles are not alternatives but complements, not either or, but both and. You must learn to dance between the two modes, to know when to be the mystic and when to be the strategist, to understand that the creative process requires both vision and action, both faith and works, both surrender and control. The sequence is crucial. You begin with Wattles, impressing your vision upon the thinking substance, cultivating faith and gratitude, acting with excellence in your present role. This creates the opportunity on the invisible plane. Then when the opportunity manifests, and you will recognize it by the surge of inspiration and excitement you feel, you shift into Hill's mode, creating a definite plan, acquiring specialized knowledge, forming alliances, and persisting with unwavering determination. The key to avoiding the Wattles trap is to remember that faith without works is dead. Visualization and affirmation are not substitutes for action. They are preparations for action, ways of aligning your consciousness so that when opportunities appear, you recognize them and act upon them decisively. The key to avoiding the hill trap is to remember that works without faith is exhausting and ineffective. Action must be animated by vision. Plans must be inspired by connection to something larger than yourself. Persistence must be fueled by burning desire rather than by grim determination. When you combine both, when you hold the vision while executing the plan, when you maintain faith while taking action, when you feel gratitude while working with excellence, you become unstoppable. Now I will reveal the secret that I promised in the beginning. The one principle that both Napoleon Hill and Wallace Wattles agreed was the absolute, non-negotiable foundation for all riches. This principle is so fundamental that without it, all the visualization, all the planning, all the persistence in the world will produce nothing. And yet it is so simple that most people overlook it entirely. The principle is this: the absolute necessity of a definite, irrevocable decision. Both masters were emphatic on this point, though they described it in different terms. Hill called it the art of decision-making and devoted an entire chapter to it. Wattles said you must have a clear vision and the will to stick to it, which is another way of describing the same thing. A decision, in the sense that Hill and Wattles use the term, is not a casual choice or a tentative preference. It is a definite commitment that cuts off all other possibilities, a burning of the bridges that eliminates retreat, a declaration to yourself and to the universe that you have chosen your path and will not deviate from it regardless of obstacles or temptations. The word decision itself comes from the Latin decidere, which means to cut off. When you make a true decision, you cut yourself off from all alternatives. You focus all your mental and physical resources on a single objective, and you create a concentration of power that commands both your subconscious mind and the thinking substance to act. Hill observed that successful people make decisions quickly and change them slowly, if at all, while unsuccessful people make decisions slowly and change them frequently. This pattern reveals a fundamental difference in mental organization and commitment. Those who achieve wealth have trained themselves to gather the necessary information, consult with their mastermind alliance if needed, and then make a firm decision without endless deliberation. Once the decision is made, they commit to it fully and adjust only when new evidence clearly indicates the need for change. This decisiveness creates momentum, eliminates the paralysis of overanalysis, and signals to both the conscious and subconscious mind that action is required immediately. Wattles approached the same principle from a metaphysical angle, but the essence is identical. He taught that you must form a clear vision of what you desire, and then maintain that vision with unwavering commitment, never allowing doubt or fear to cause you to waver or change your mind. This unwavering commitment is what allows the thinking substance to complete the creative process. If you constantly change your vision, if you doubt and waver, if you entertain competing desires, you interrupt the creative process and prevent manifestation. The thinking substance responds to the clarity and consistency of your thought, and that clarity and consistency only come from a definite, irrevocable decision about what you want. The moment you make a true decision, not a wish, not a hope, not a preference, but a definite commitment, something shifts in your consciousness. You stop being a spectator considering various options and become a participant committed to a specific outcome. You stop asking whether you should pursue your goal and start asking how you will achieve it. You stop looking for reasons why it might not work and start looking for ways to make it work. This shift is the catalyst that activates both Hill's practical system and Wattles' metaphysical system. Without the decision, desire remains vague and plans remain theoretical. With the decision, desire becomes burning and plans become actionable. Consider Hill's own story, which perfectly illustrates this principle. When Andrew Carnegie offered him the opportunity to spend 25 years studying the principles of success, Carnegie gave him exactly 60 seconds to make a decision. Hill later revealed that he spent 59 of those 60 seconds in internal debate, weighing the costs and benefits, considering the sacrifice required, questioning whether he was capable of completing such a monumental task. But in the final second, he made a definite decision to accept, and that single decision became the catalyst for his entire life's work. Had he hesitated? Had he asked for more time to think about it? Had he said maybe or probably or let me get back to you? Carnegie would have moved on to someone else. The opportunity required an immediate, definite decision. The power of decision extends beyond the individual mind to influence the external world in ways that seem almost miraculous. When you make a definite decision, you create what Hill called a definiteness of purpose that attracts people, resources, and opportunities that align with your decision. It is as if the universe recognizes your commitment and responds by providing what you need to fulfill it. Wattles would explain this by saying that your decision impresses itself upon the thinking substance with such clarity and force that the substance immediately begins organizing itself to manifest your decision in physical form. Whether you prefer Hill's practical explanation or Wattles' metaphysical explanation, the observable fact is the same. Definite decisions produce definite results. The lack of decision, by contrast, is the primary cause of failure and mediocrity. Most people go through life never making a definite decision about what they want, never committing fully to any goal, always keeping their options open, always maintaining an escape route in case things get difficult. This indecision scatters their mental energy, prevents them from developing the burning desire that Hill describes, and sends confused, conflicting signals to the thinking substance that Wattles describes. They dabble in various pursuits. They start projects and abandon them. They change their minds with every new piece of information or every temporary setback, and so they never accumulate the focused power necessary to create significant wealth. The decision must be specific and definite. It is not enough to decide that you want to be wealthy. You must decide exactly how much wealth you want, by when you want it, and what you are willing to give in exchange for it. It is not enough to decide that you want a better life. You must decide exactly what that better life looks like, what experiences it includes, what you will be doing, and who you will be being when you have it. This specificity is what focuses your mind and gives the thinking substance a clear template to work from. Vague decisions produce vague results. Specific decisions produce specific results. The decision must also be irrevocable. This does not mean you can never adjust your plans or change your methods. It means you do not change your fundamental commitment to the goal. You may alter the route, but you do not change the destination. You may modify the plan, but you do not abandon the purpose. This irrevocability is what creates persistence, because when you have truly decided that you will achieve your goal no matter what, temporary defeats become nothing more than feedback that helps you refine your approach. You persist not because you are stubborn, but because you have decided, and the decision is final. Here then is the unspoken agreement between Hill and Wattles, the secret principle that underlies both systems. Before you can apply either Hill's practical strategies or Wattles' metaphysical principles effectively, you must first make a definite, irrevocable decision about what you want. This decision is the foundation upon which everything else is built. It is what transforms vague desire into burning desire in Hill's system. It is what creates the clear vision and unwavering faith in Wattles' system. It is what focuses your subconscious mind and impresses your thought upon the thinking substance. Without the decision, you are merely dabbling, experimenting, hoping. With the decision, you become a force of nature, unstoppable and inevitable. The challenge I pose to you now is this: have you made a definite, irrevocable decision about your financial goal? Not a wish, not a hope, not a "it would be nice if," but a definite decision with a specific amount, a specific deadline, and a specific commitment to do whatever it takes to achieve it. If not, then all the knowledge of Hill and Wattles will remain theoretical and ineffective. But if you make that decision now, in this moment, with full commitment and without reservation, you will activate both systems simultaneously. You will impress your decision upon the thinking substance and set the creative process in motion, while simultaneously organizing your conscious mind to receive and act upon the opportunities that will begin flowing to you. The decision is the key that unlocks both the metaphysical and the practical dimensions of wealth creation. The synthesis of Hill and Wattles is not merely theoretical. It is validated by observable patterns in the modern world of business and entrepreneurship. Consider the structure of successful startups, which unknowingly embody the unified system we have been exploring. Every thriving enterprise has two essential roles that must be filled, and these roles correspond precisely to the philosophies of our two masters. The first role is the visionary, the founder or leader who holds the grand, unwavering vision of what the company will become, who sees possibilities that others cannot see, who maintains faith when circumstances argue for doubt. This is the Wattles role, the mystic who impresses the vision upon the thinking substance. The visionary is not primarily concerned with the how. That person is obsessed with the what and the why. They see the future so clearly that it becomes more real than the present. They communicate this vision with such conviction and passion that others begin to see it too and want to be part of bringing it into reality. Think of Steve Jobs, who held an unwavering vision of personal computers that were beautiful, intuitive, and accessible to everyone. Or Elon Musk, who holds a vision of humanity as a multiplanetary species. These visionaries are not mere dreamers. They are individuals who have impressed their vision upon the universal creative substance with such force and clarity that reality itself begins to reorganize around their vision. But vision alone does not build companies. The second essential role is the integrator, the person or team who creates the practical, step-by-step plans to make the vision a reality, who handles the details, who builds the systems, who executes with precision and excellence. This is the Hill role, the strategist who organizes resources and directs action on the physical plane. In the startup world, this is often the chief operating officer, the engineering team, the project managers who translate the founder's vision into concrete products, processes, and results. They are not concerned with whether the vision is possible. They assume it is possible because the visionary has declared it so, and their job is to figure out how to make it happen. The magic occurs when these two roles work in perfect harmony. The visionary holds the vision and maintains the faith, never wavering even when circumstances seem impossible. The integrator creates the plans and executes the actions, constantly solving problems and overcoming obstacles. The visionary keeps the team connected to the why, to the larger purpose that makes the struggle worthwhile. The integrator keeps the team focused on the how, on the specific tasks that must be completed today. Together they create what neither could create alone, a vision that becomes reality through organized, persistent effort guided by unwavering faith. The failure of most startups can be traced to an imbalance between these two roles. Some companies have brilliant visionaries but no effective integrators, and so the vision remains perpetually unrealized, always 5 years away, always about to happen, but never quite materializing. The company burns through capital on grand plans that never get executed properly. Other companies have excellent integrators, but no compelling visionary, and so they execute efficiently but without direction, building products that nobody wants, solving problems that nobody cares about. They work hard but go nowhere because they lack the vision that would give their efforts meaning and direction. The lesson for your personal wealth creation is clear. You must be both the visionary and the integrator in your own life. You cannot delegate the visionary role to someone else because your vision is unique to you, arising from your desires, your values, your understanding of what you want to create. And you cannot delegate the integrator role entirely either, because you must be the one who takes responsibility for executing the plan, for doing the work, for persisting through obstacles. You must learn to shift between these two modes, to know when to be the mystic holding the vision and when to be the strategist executing the plan. This dual role is not a burden, it is your greatest opportunity. When you embody both the visionary and the integrator, you become complete, self-sufficient, unstoppable. You do not need to wait for someone else to believe in your vision or to execute your plans. You hold the vision yourself with such clarity and faith that opportunities begin to appear, and then you execute on those opportunities with the strategic brilliance and persistence that Hill teaches. You become a one-person startup, capable of creating wealth from nothing but a vision and the willingness to act on it. Consider how this plays out in practice. You begin each day in visionary mode, spending time in contemplation of your clear vision, feeling the emotions of gratitude and certainty that Wattles teaches, connecting with the thinking substance and impressing your desire upon it with faith and conviction. This is not idle daydreaming. It is the most important work you do, because it is here that you create on the invisible plane, here that you set the creative forces of the universe in motion. You do this first, before you check email, before you dive into tasks, before you allow the demands of the physical world to dominate your consciousness. You start with the vision because the vision is primary. Then, as you move through your day, you shift into integrator mode. You execute the specific tasks that your plan requires. You take the actions that present themselves as opportunities. You work with excellence and efficiency, doing more than you are paid to do, always with the intention of advancement. You are not working from anxiety or desperation. You are working from faith and vision, knowing that each action is part of a larger creative process that is bringing your desire into physical form. You handle the details with precision while never losing sight of the larger purpose. You solve problems strategically while maintaining the emotional state of gratitude and certainty. Throughout the day, you move fluidly between these two modes. When you encounter an obstacle, you shift back into visionary mode, reconnecting with your vision and faith, reminding yourself that the thinking substance is working to bring you what you desire, and that this obstacle is merely part of the process. Then you shift back into integrator mode, strategizing how to overcome the obstacle, applying Hill's principles of persistence and creative thinking. When you feel inspired with a new idea or opportunity, you recognize this as the universe responding to your vision, and you immediately create a plan to act on it. You do not dismiss the inspiration or wait for a more convenient time. You trust that the timing is perfect, and you act with decisiveness. This integration of the visionary and integrator roles is what separates those who create significant wealth from those who merely work hard or merely dream big. The hard workers without vision are like ships with powerful engines, but no destination. They burn tremendous fuel going in circles. The big dreamers without execution are like ships with beautiful destinations marked on a map, but no engines to get there. They remain forever in port, talking about the journey they will someday take. But when you combine both, when you have a clear destination and a powerful engine, when you hold the vision and execute the plan, you become unstoppable, cutting through obstacles that would stop others, arriving at destinations that others think impossible. The modern business world provides countless examples of this principle in action. Every successful entrepreneur, whether they realize it or not, has mastered the art of being both visionary and integrator. They hold a vision so compelling that it attracts resources, talent, and opportunities, and they execute with such precision and persistence that the vision becomes reality. Jeff Bezos held a vision of a company that would sell everything to everyone, and he executed with relentless focus on customer experience and operational excellence. Sarah Blakely held a vision of shapewear that would make women feel confident and beautiful, and she executed by personally visiting stores, making sales calls, and persisting through countless rejections until her product was on shelves nationwide. What these examples reveal is that the synthesis of Hill and Wattles is not some esoteric philosophy divorced from practical reality. It is the operating system of success itself. It is how wealth is actually created in the real world, whether the creators are conscious of the principles or not. By becoming conscious of these principles, by deliberately embodying both the visionary and the integrator, by learning to dance between Wattles' metaphysical method and Hill's practical strategies, you gain an advantage that most people never discover. You are no longer operating by accident or instinct. You are operating by design, applying a complete system that addresses both the invisible and visible dimensions of wealth creation. The validation of this synthesis extends beyond business to every area of life where significant achievement occurs. Athletes who reach the highest levels are both visionaries who see themselves winning championships and integrators who execute grueling training regimens with discipline and precision. Artists who create masterpieces are both visionaries who hold a clear image of what they want to create, and integrators who master the technical skills required to bring that image into physical form. Leaders who transform organizations are both visionaries who articulate a compelling future, and integrators who build the systems and processes to make that future real. In every domain of human achievement, the pattern is the same: vision plus execution, faith plus works, Wattles plus Hill. Let me share with you a story that perfectly illustrates the power of the decision principle that both Hill and Wattles emphasized. This is the story of Napoleon Hill himself, at the moment that defined his entire life and gave birth to the philosophy we have been exploring. Hill was a young journalist when he was assigned to interview Andrew Carnegie, the wealthiest man in America at that time. The interview was supposed to last 3 hours. It lasted 3 days. At the end of those 3 days, Carnegie made Hill an offer. He would introduce Hill to the most successful people in America and give him access to study their methods. But Hill would have to commit 25 years to the project, and he would receive no payment for his work. Carnegie gave Hill exactly 60 seconds to make his decision. Hill later revealed that he spent 59 of those 60 seconds in internal turmoil. His rational mind presented every logical reason why he should refuse. He had no money. He had a family to support. 25 years was an enormous commitment. There was no guarantee of success. He might waste the best years of his life on a project that produced nothing. The doubt, the fear, the practical considerations all argued for caution, for asking for more time, for negotiating better terms. But in that final second, something shifted. Hill made a definite, irrevocable decision to accept Carnegie's offer, and he communicated that decision with such clarity and conviction that Carnegie, who had been timing him with a stopwatch, smiled and said, "I knew you would accept. I have been watching you, and I knew you had the determination to see this through." What Hill did not know at the time was that Carnegie had made this same offer to dozens of other men before him, and every single one had failed the test. Some had asked for time to think about it. Some had tried to negotiate payment. Some had accepted tentatively with conditions and reservations. Carnegie was not looking for someone who would consider the opportunity. He was looking for someone who would commit to it absolutely. Someone who would make a definite decision without hesitation or doubt. Hill was the first to pass the test, and that single decision in that single moment became the foundation for everything that followed. The 25 years of research, the interviews with 500 successful people, the distillation of the 17 principles of success, and ultimately the book Think and Grow Rich that has influenced millions. The power of that decision was not merely that it set Hill on a particular path, it was that the decision itself transformed Hill from a casual observer into a committed participant, from someone who was interested in success to someone who was determined to master it. The moment he made that definite, irrevocable decision, his entire consciousness shifted. He stopped asking whether he should do it and started asking how he would do it. He stopped looking for reasons why it might not work and started looking for ways to make it work. The decision eliminated all competing desires, all escape routes, all excuses. It focused every faculty of his mind on a single objective, and that focused power made him capable of achievements that would have been impossible without the decision. This story illustrates a profound truth that both Hill and Wattles understood. The decision is not just a preliminary step before the real work begins. The decision is itself the most important work. It is the moment when you commit your entire being to a definite outcome, when you cut yourself off from all alternatives, when you declare to yourself and to the universe that you have chosen your path and will not deviate from it. This commitment creates a concentration of mental and emotional energy that commands both your subconscious mind and the thinking substance to act. Without the decision, you are merely dabbling, experimenting, hoping. With the decision, you become a force that reshapes reality itself. Consider how different Hill's life would have been if he had hesitated, if he had asked for more time, if he had tried to negotiate different terms. Carnegie would have moved on to someone else, and Hill would have remained an obscure journalist, never discovering the principles that would make him famous, never writing the books that would influence millions, never fulfilling the potential that Carnegie saw in him. One moment, one decision determined the entire trajectory of his life, and the same is true for you. The decision you make right now about your financial future, about what you will commit to, and what you will cut yourself off from, will determine whether you remain where you are or whether you ascend to the level of wealth you desire. The lesson extends beyond Hill's personal story to the broader pattern he observed in his research. Every successful person he interviewed could point to a specific moment when they made a definite decision that changed everything. Henry Ford decided he would build a car that ordinary people could afford, and he never wavered from that decision, despite countless obstacles and critics who said it was impossible. Thomas Edison decided he would create a practical electric light, and he persisted through 10,000 failed experiments because the decision was final and failure was not an option. The decision came first, before the plan, before the resources, before the evidence that success was possible. The decision created the conditions that made success inevitable. This is the power that is available to you right now, in this moment. You do not need to wait until you have more knowledge, more resources, more favorable circumstances. You do not need to wait until you feel ready or until the path is clear. You simply need to make a definite, irrevocable decision about what you want, with a specific amount, a specific deadline, and a specific commitment to do whatever it takes. The moment you make that decision with full conviction, without reservation or doubt, you activate both Hill's system and Wattles' system simultaneously. You impress your decision upon the thinking substance with such force that it immediately begins organizing circumstances to manifest your desire, and you organize your conscious mind to receive and act upon the opportunities that will flow to you. The decision must be made alone, in the quiet of your own consciousness, without seeking approval or permission from others. This is not because you should isolate yourself or ignore wise counsel, but because the decision must be yours and yours alone. If you make it dependent on others' approval, you have not truly decided. You have merely expressed a preference that you will pursue if conditions are favorable. A true decision is unconditional. It does not wait for permission, for perfect timing, for ideal circumstances. It declares, "This is what I will do, and I will begin now with what I have." This is the quality of decision that both Hill and Wattles recognized as essential, and it is the quality that separates those who achieve great wealth from those who merely wish for it. We have journeyed through the philosophies of two titans, explored their apparent contradictions, and discovered the synthesis that unites them into a single, complete system. Now it is time to crystallize this understanding into a clear, actionable framework that you can apply immediately. The conclusion is this: Napoleon Hill and Wallace Wattles were not rivals presenting competing systems. They were two parts of a whole, two complementary dimensions of a single unified process. Wattles gave you the engine, the connection to the creative substance, the ability to impress your vision upon the invisible realm where all physical forms originate. Hill gave you the chassis and the steering wheel, the practical plans, the strategic alliances, the persistent action that translates invisible creation into visible manifestation. Neither system is complete without the other. If you apply only Wattles's method, you will create powerfully on the invisible plane, but you may fail to take the efficient, decisive action required to bring your creation into physical form. You will be like a person who has designed a magnificent building in their mind, but never lays a single brick. If you apply only Hill's method, you will work hard and strategically, but you may lack the vision and faith that attracts opportunities and opens doors that strategy alone cannot open. You will be like a person who is building with tremendous effort, but without a blueprint, creating something that may be structurally sound but does not serve the purpose you truly desire. The unified system requires you to master both dimensions and to know when to operate in each mode. You begin with vision, with the clear mental image of what you desire, held with the unwavering faith and gratitude that Wattles teaches. This is not a one-time exercise. It is a daily practice, a way of starting each day by impressing your desire upon the thinking substance and aligning your consciousness with the creative forces of the universe. You do this before you engage with the physical world, before you check your messages or dive into tasks, because this is the primary creative work. Everything else flows from this. Then, as you move through your day, you remain alert and receptive to the opportunities, ideas, and inspirations that begin to appear. These are not random occurrences. They are the universe's response to your vision, the how that you were told not to worry about, but that you must now act upon decisively. When an opportunity appears, and you will recognize it by the surge of excitement and knowing you feel, you shift into Hill's mode. You create a definite plan for capitalizing on the opportunity. You acquire whatever specialized knowledge you need. You form alliances with those who can help you, and you execute with unwavering persistence until the opportunity manifests as tangible wealth. The beauty of this unified system is that it eliminates the false choice between being spiritual and being practical, between trusting the universe and taking responsibility, between faith and works. You do not have to choose. You integrate both. You are simultaneously the mystic who holds the vision and the warrior who executes the plan. You trust the thinking substance to arrange circumstances in your favor, and you trust yourself to recognize and act upon those circumstances when they appear. You surrender the how while taking massive action. This paradox is not a contradiction. It is the essence of the creative process itself. The message I want to leave you with today is one of profound empowerment. You no longer need to choose between being a mystic or a strategist, between following Wattles or following Hill, between trusting the universe or trusting yourself. The choice itself is a false dichotomy that has kept countless people trapped in partial understanding and partial results. The truth is that you must be both, that you must embody both dimensions of the creative process, that you must become what I call a mystical strategist, someone who operates with equal mastery in both the invisible realm of vision and faith and the visible realm of plans and action. Stop choosing between the metaphysical and the practical. Stop believing that you must either visualize or strategize, either meditate or work, either trust or plan. These are not opposites. They are complements. Use the power of your mind to create on the invisible plane with Wattles' creative method. Form the clear vision, maintain unwavering faith, feel constant gratitude, and act with excellence in your present environment. This impresses your desire upon the thinking substance and sets the creative process in motion. Then use the power of your will to execute on the physical plane with Hill's strategic system. Create definite plans, acquire specialized knowledge, form mastermind alliances, and persist with unwavering determination until your vision manifests as physical wealth. This is the unified path to wealth that has been hidden in plain sight for over a century, scattered across two books that seem to contradict each other but actually complete each other. Most people read one or the other and try to apply it in isolation, achieving partial results at best. But you now understand the complete equation. You have the missing piece that neither master fully articulated alone, the recognition that their systems are two sides of the same coin, two dimensions of a single unified process, two complementary approaches that must be integrated to achieve maximum power. The mystical strategist operates from a position of tremendous advantage. You do not struggle against the universe, you work with it. You do not force opportunities, you attract them through your vision and faith, and then you execute on them with strategic brilliance. You do not burn out from constant effort without direction, and you do not remain stuck in perpetual visualization without action. You dance between the two modes fluidly, naturally, powerfully. You are the visionary who holds the grand vision of what you will create, and you are the integrator who builds the practical systems to make that vision real. This integration transforms your relationship with wealth itself. You stop seeing wealth as something external that you must chase, compete for, or struggle to acquire. Instead, you see wealth as something you create, first in the invisible realm of thought, and then in the visible realm of physical manifestation. You understand that the thinking substance contains unlimited potential, that your vision impresses itself upon this substance and sets creative forces in motion, and that your strategic action translates those creative forces into tangible results. Wealth becomes not a scarce resource to be fought over, but an abundant flow to be tapped into through proper understanding and application of universal laws. The mystical strategist also operates with a different emotional quality than those who apply only one system or the other. There is no anxiety, because you trust that the thinking substance is working to bring you what you desire. There is no passivity, because you understand that you must act decisively on the opportunities that appear. There is no exhaustion from grinding effort, because your action is animated by vision and faith rather than by fear and desperation. There is no doubt about whether you will succeed, because you have made a definite, irrevocable decision, and you are applying a complete system that addresses both dimensions of creation. You work with enthusiasm, with joy, with the quiet confidence that comes from understanding how the universe operates. This is the state of consciousness that creates wealth naturally and effortlessly. Not effortless in the sense of requiring no action, but effortless in the sense of flowing naturally from who you are rather than being forced through struggle and strain. When you embody both the mystic and the strategist, wealth creation becomes an expression of your consciousness rather than a battle against circumstances. You are not trying to make something happen through sheer force of will. You are allowing something to happen through the proper alignment of your consciousness with universal creative forces, combined with strategic action that translates that alignment into physical form. I want to leave you with a specific challenge, a practical way to begin integrating these two systems immediately and experiencing their combined power. I call it the Unified Wealth Challenge, and it is designed to give you direct personal experience of what happens when you combine Wattles' metaphysical method with Hill's practical strategies. Here is how it works. Choose one specific financial goal, something concrete and measurable that you can achieve within the next 90 days. It should be significant enough to require real effort, but achievable enough that you can see progress quickly. Write down the exact amount, the exact deadline, and what you will give in exchange for it. For the next 3 days, I want you to divide your day into 2 distinct phases. In the morning, spend at least 30 minutes in Wattles mode. Sit quietly and contemplate your vision with perfect clarity. See yourself already in possession of the wealth you desire. Feel the emotions you will feel when it is yours, the gratitude, the joy, the sense of accomplishment. Do not think about how it will happen. Simply hold the vision and feel the certainty that it is on its way to you. Impress this vision upon the thinking substance with faith and conviction. Feel deep gratitude for its manifestation, as if it has already occurred. This is your primary creative work. Then in the afternoon, shift into Hill's mode. Take one small but concrete action step toward your goal. It does not have to be a major action. It simply needs to be something practical and strategic that moves you closer to your objective. Create one element of your plan. Acquire one piece of specialized knowledge. Reach out to one person who could help you. Complete one task with excellence that demonstrates your readiness for greater opportunities. The key is that you actually do something in the physical world, not just think about it or plan it, but execute it with precision and commitment. The goal of this 3-day challenge is not to achieve your entire financial objective in 72 hours, though you may be surprised at what happens. The goal is to feel the power of combining the two energies, to experience what it is like to create on the invisible plane in the morning and execute on the physical plane in the afternoon, to notice how vision and action amplify each other when they are properly integrated. Pay attention to the clarity and momentum you feel. Notice how opportunities begin to appear when you hold the vision consistently. Notice how much more effective your actions become when they are animated by faith and vision rather than by anxiety and desperation. After 3 days, evaluate your experience. Ask yourself these questions. Did I feel more clarity about what I want and how to get it? Did opportunities appear that I had not noticed before? Did I take actions that I had been avoiding or postponing? Did I feel a sense of momentum and progress rather than struggle and strain? Did my emotional state shift from doubt and worry to faith and confidence? If you answer yes to any of these questions, you have experienced the power of the unified system. If you answer yes to all of them, you have discovered something that will transform your entire approach to wealth creation. I want you to report your experience. Leave a comment describing what happened during your 3-day Unified Wealth Challenge. Share the insights you gained, the opportunities that appeared, the actions you took, and the shifts you felt in your consciousness. Your experience will inspire others and reinforce your own learning. This is not merely an exercise. It is the beginning of a new way of operating, a new identity as a mystical strategist who masters both the invisible and visible dimensions of wealth creation. If you are ready to go deeper, if you are ready to fully commit to combining metaphysical power with practical strategy and building your fortune through the unified system we have explored today, then I invite you to subscribe to The Master's Legacy. This channel is dedicated to exploring the profound teachings of the great masters of the mind, to synthesizing their wisdom into practical systems you can apply, and to guiding you on a transformative journey toward the life you desire. Each video is carefully crafted to give you not just information, but transformation, not just knowledge, but power. The path to wealth is not a mystery. It is not a matter of luck or circumstances or connections. It is the result of understanding and applying specific principles in a specific way. Napoleon Hill gave you half of those principles, the practical, strategic, action-oriented principles that govern success on the physical plane. Wallace Wattles gave you the other half, the metaphysical, creative, consciousness-based principles that govern manifestation from the invisible plane. Together, they form the complete equation of wealth, and you now possess that equation. The question is not whether the system works. It must work because it is based on universal laws that are as reliable as the law of gravity. The question is whether you will work the system. Will you make the definite, irrevocable decision about what you want? Will you hold the clear vision with unwavering faith? Will you feel constant gratitude for what you are creating? Will you act with excellence in your present environment? Will you create definite plans when opportunities appear? Will you persist through obstacles with the knowledge that you are applying a complete system that addresses both dimensions of creation? If you do these things, if you become the mystical strategist who operates with equal mastery in both realms, if you integrate Wattles' creative method with Hill's strategic principles, then wealth is not a possibility, it is an inevitability. You will create it first in the invisible realm through vision and faith, and then you will manifest it in the visible realm through strategic action and unwavering persistence. You will become living proof that the two greatest wealth philosophies ever written are not contradictory but complementary, not competing but completing each other. This is your moment. This is your opportunity. The knowledge is yours. The system is complete. The only thing left is your decision and your commitment. Will you choose to remain where you are, dabbling in partial systems and achieving partial results? Or will you choose to ascend to the level of the mystical strategist, mastering the complete equation of wealth and creating the fortune you desire? The choice, as always, is yours. But know this, the universe is waiting for your decision. The thinking substance is ready to respond to your vision, and the practical world is prepared to yield to your strategic action. Everything is in place. The only question is whether you are ready to claim what is already yours. Subscribe to the Master's Legacy. Master the complete equation of wealth. Become the mystical strategist. Your transformation begins now.